And you know, we have conversations behind the scenes before we come on air. You're still watching Prime Morning. I'm here with Honorable Timothy Awantrim-Atabwade, just like we always do. Conversations before we come on. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Rosalind.
How are you?
You're looking fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You're always mutating from one state to the other.
I know. I keep growing young, eh?
Yeah, that is fantastic. And it's good. It's to glorify God's name because we are a creation of the Most High. So we shouldn't look sad. We shouldn't look unkept and so on.
Yeah.
You should be properly dressed before. That is why even people going to church, you should put on your best. Because sometimes we put up our best to discos. If you are going to your father's house and you wear jeans and you dress anyhow.
Yeah.
You are going to parties and you dress your best. You are going to weddings, you dress your best. But when you are going to worship God, you dress anyhow. It's he that who wants to see that his children are dressed anyhow. So I think we have to encourage ourselves, and we all want to look our best. And it also takes off the pressure that the challenges are there, the economic challenges are there, but you don't have to give up. We have to continue to maintain our standard till you are yanked from your current state to a better state. So let me say good morning to our viewers and to our cherished viewers across the globe. I think a lot of people are enjoying the program, and we want to wish them well, and that they should be part and parcel of the conversations here, as they've always been. We cherish them so much, and this morning I wish all of them the best.
Talking about wishing all of them the best, there are topics that we'll be discussing this morning, and we can't wait to delve into it. And it's probably brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise.
Especially the SS program.
The SS program, I know. Since you're an educationist, I know.
Yeah, very important.
So now, talking about that, what's a very big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise for always having our back. And now, this is one thing I say, that when it comes to gadgets, the only place that I'll go to is Franco Trading Enterprise. It's the mobile phones that you want, television sets, CCTV cameras. I mean, any gadgets you could think of, microwave, I mean, all the things that you could think of, Franco Trading Enterprise has got you covered. Things have evolved, things have changed. I mean, we've grown, we are in a digital era. And so you can sit in the comfort of your home and order items. All you need to do is to download the app on your phone, which is the Franco Trading app, and place your orders. And of course, it will be delivered to you at your doorstep. Why don't you let us do this together? Franco Trading Enterprise, still and still, phone, papa, pair, fee. Now, talking about that, we also want to say a very big thank you to all of you that have been sharing your messages with us on our WhatsApp number 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. Our conversations keep getting better and better. There's a lot that's happening in Parliament, you know. There's a lot that's happening, not just in Parliament, but to fight galamsey, you know. There's a lot that is happening in our education sector as well. Talking about free SHS, which has been heavy with regards to campaign. Now, some says, oh, you know, if you vote for this particular person, the person will cancel it. Some says, no, we need to get it better. We need to research and all of that. We'll take a look at the education sector. We'll take a look at the galamsey side, and we take a look at what is happening in Parliament as well. I've been joined by Honorable Michael Aidoo, and he's representing the NPP. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great.
Did you miss me?
Oh, you've been missed.
Hey. I like that I've been missed. It makes me feel good. Anyway, how's everything though?
Great.
Great, and it's good to have you once again. All right, so I'll start off with the newspapers, and then we can delve into our topics for this morning. The Daily Graphic is actually reporting one of our stories, and it says 400 guards to train safeguard water bodies, or 400 guards trained to safeguard water bodies. And we are taking a look at this because we have been talking about the galamsey side. How can we fight this menace? And if these 400 guards are training to fight our water bodies against galamsey, then we need to delve deeper into it. And so let's hear your voice this morning as well. Stakeholders propose special military units for forest protection. At Graphic Business and First National Bank dialogue, experts demand lower lending rates as T-bill rates tumble. Republic Bank posts 37.84% growth in assets. And that will be all for the Daily Graphic newspaper. The next newspaper is The Catalyst. The Catalyst. A ticking time bomb as another Galamsey disaster is waiting to happen at Konongo Odumase. And if you see a picture of, I think there's a road that has been blocked and all of that, we hope that this will not happen. We hope that, you know, the military will go in there and salvage the situation. We'll come for you if you fail to show us. OSP Des Opori Atta, and this conversation, we had it right here yesterday. Joy returns to Ghana, police over Dr. George Dampari's removal. And 20 million Ghana cedis worth of opioid drugs seized at Tema Port. The New Republic newspaper as the next newspaper, the New Republic. Being a female judge in Ghana is extremely tough. Mama Bobby III says so. GPRTU spare parts dealers dispute NPP drivers as lorry fares surge. President shuffles top military brass. And who polices the police? Okay. Ex-Yoko boss squanders 30 million Ghana cedis exhibits cash. Hey, this story. Anyway, I'll put it on the side. We'll do more investigation into this and bring it to you another time. The Economy Times newspaper is the next newspaper. IMF key stakeholders to determine improved new VAT system. Ghana classified at high risk of debt distress as total external liabilities stand at $28.3 billion. Over 30 billion Ghana cedis used for financial sector cleanup exercise, yet NIB is still in distress, says government. You see, this one, the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Government launches Blue Water Guard initiative, 2,000 youth to protect water bodies, says President Mahama. And as of now, it's 400 that they have started with. Upper East region, hot weather puts Ghana Health Service on high alert. Varsity Dawn calls for right leadership towards educational reform. And teacher in court for allegedly defrauding $11,000 thefts. I see. Okay. So that'll be all with regards to the newspapers for this morning. Now, you are joining us and we are grateful. Let's not forget that we are streaming live on Facebook. And so leave your comments there and we will definitely be reading your comments. Now, if you're doing that, don't forget to hit the share button and let everybody on your timeline enjoy it as well. Maybe we should start the conversation with the water guard because it's called the Blue Water Guard. Is an initiative that was created by the President, John Dramani Mahama, to help curb Galamsey. Now, currently, there are 400 persons who are going under training so that they come out to guard our water bodies. Do you think this can be feasible? Because they are being trained, so it will be done. But can they fight the Galamsey? Or is it going to be just one of those charades that we've seen in the past, that it started, but it never yielded any results? So let me start this with Michael, since you are in opposition. I know if I ask Honorable, his first thing will be yes, it will work.
So you want an alternate?
Yeah, so let me ask Honorable Michael Aidoo. Yeah. Probably he will be able to let me know if it will work or not work, because he also tried something similar.
Rosalind, I think for now, we wouldn't be able to tell whether it will work or not. But then what I'm curious about is the fact that we've sent the military, we've sent the police, and now we have to get a para unit called the Blue Water Guard to go and take care of these sites. Yesterday, I saw a post where someone was alluding to the fact that their work is mainly to be whistleblowers. So they are going to monitor around and then inform the various security agencies. If that is the case, then fine. We'll say maybe it will work. But for now, we cannot say for sure whether it will work or not. You know, the Galamsey menace is quite deep and quite threatening. And for any unit that is going in, my fear is that they don't get corrupted, because these are party people that have been recruited within a short time to go and support their government so that they will be able to nip the galamsey issue in the bud. And if these people are going down already, most of the party people have now engulfed themselves in the galamsey. If you're looking at the reports that are coming out recently, yesterday I was listening to Asempa FM. Basically, most of the people engaging are party people. So if you send the same party people to go and be reporting or become whistleblowers, if you are not careful, you will spend the state's resources on them and we will not get the results. That's why I'm saying it's early days yet. We are yet to see.
Okay, so we are yet to see. But Honorable Timothy, I want to...
Yeah.
This particular strategy has been done before. You know, there's been allegations of even military men who have been, some of them have been corrupted through this. Do you think it's still the right way to fight galamsey?
Let me say good morning to Honorable Aidoo. You're looking great in your... is this Ghana made or...
It's Ghana made.
And who made it?
A friend of mine.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also in Ghana made, but it didn't tell me I was nice.
Oh, yours is nice. Yours is really, really nice.
And I told
you know, I like the fugu.
Yeah.
It's the fugu. I like it. It's really nice. Smoke.
Honorable, you want to distribute this morning?
The issue of galamsey, we've come a long way. We've really come a long way as a country in the fight. If you check and track the record, it's been a long way. It's spanned through regimes and even tough regimes like the Rawlings regime and so on, and other menace to our environment and so on. But it has become topical now because of the devastation that it has caused, not just the environment, but humans and so on. You sit your corner, you think that it won't reach you. Tomorrow when you get up in the morning, it's by your doorstep.
By your doorstep, yeah.
It won't reach you, your relatives in the village, and as we are all connected to our rural roots, you get one of your relatives that has been sent to hospital because he has drank water that has been polluted by the same Ghanaian people. Like you rightly put it, it is true that there have been different methods that have been used to fight the galamsey or to even reduce it to its lowest levels. It is also agreed that we cannot say that those who are into small-scale mining, who are licensed, should lose their job, but they must be properly guided and put in the right perspective. Mining in water is completely no. Mining in forest reserve, completely no. I keep saying it and repeatedly, that even the colonial government that came here to exploit our resources did not mine in our waters. They created forest reserves for us, parks and gardens. The country has been given to us, and we Ghanaians have turned to be monstrous to ourselves in the way we go about these things. But the issue that often comes up is the big people behind the galamseyers are those that we do not even see, are those that finally benefit from the huge sums of money and the smuggle of gold from this part of the world into other areas, and they live like Arabian kings. Yet we continue to bear the brunt of the devastation as a result of galamsey and so on. So it's a fight that is not an NDC fight. It's a fight that is national. Every patriotic citizen must ensure that your voice is heard in terms of the fight against this thing. It was in our manifestos to make the waters blue again. That was our issue, make the waters blue again. But you see, there's a problem, and the problem is simply this. Like he said, check this. Anytime we recruit young men or people we think that they can help resolve the matter, they become part and parcel of the problem and exacerbate it. That is the crux of the matter. So how do we go over that hurdle? The young people say they need jobs. You create jobs for them, whether they are party people or not. They need jobs. The job is done, they become albatross again. What do we do as a country? We must, that is why I said that for every government appointee, whether you are in the executive, whether you are a member of parliament, whatever that you call yourself, if you are seen to be part of this destruction, you should completely be disabled initially. so that it will serve as a deterrent, not just to be disabled from your political position, but to ensure that the laws that pertain to that you are taking on. Once you clear your home of all your appointees not being part, it is easier to deal with other people when they become tough miscreants.
Honorable, fair enough. I mean, how do we prevent them from corruption?
So the issue is this. It's like a cartel. And to fight a drug war and gold war is heavy. Look, the people must know why they are going for these jobs. The people must know that you are going for an income of, I'm just putting it, maybe 1,000 cedis, which might not be up to, even if you, in the space of corrupt issue, even if you pay 5,000, it's still not enough for you because they will come with bigger sums of money and so on. So I think that it should not just be the young men who have been employed to be the water police, the blue water police and so on.
The blue water guard.
The community should also be a watchdog on them. The assemblyman, the actors, and so on, and even other youth groups should be a watch on them.
On who?
On the young men that
on the guards.
On the guards.
But you created the guards. If the community can do it, why don't you let the community guard them?
My point is that these guards should also be watched and monitored, so that in times of this fight, you need information to deal with. Even it's just like the police. You recruit police people, and tomorrow you find some of them in armed robbery. The army too the same. These are properly trained people, but you find the miscreants there. You would also find them here, cannot run away. But it's early days here. But I think that the community should police them too. Okay. There should be a regular umbrella of good people who would continuously monitor them, unaware and so on. We should monitor that. At the end of the day, it should be that the issues of mining in water and forest reserves should be stopped completely.
All right. Talking about that, I just want to ask.
It should be holistic.
I want to ask this question. I mean, somewhere last year, we knew that the president then, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said that he was going to make sure that there was going to be a repeal of the LI 2462. You're in Parliament. Has it done? Has it been done?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm sure something may come up. I'm yet to see the actions that the new minister will take. I think in his vetting, he mentioned something like that we need to repeal the law. He mentioned something like that, but we are yet to see something like that come. And when it comes, we look at the form which is coming, and we all contribute to it to make it better, so that at least we can protect our ecosystem, our forest reserves and so on.
Don't you think that if we repeal this LI 2462, then it means that it's going to reduce the number of galamsey we see in our water bodies and our forest reserves, and the fight will be easier for these young men who are being placed there?
Rosalind, it's not just about repealing the law, it's about enforcement. Enforcing the law is about education, letting people know how wrong it is, so that the communities
the people know it's wrong.
Not everybody really appreciates it. When you sit in Accra and you have to buy water every day and you get so cautious about how difficult it is to get water, then you start to think about our environment. And if you've learned accounts, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you get to a certain level, you then start to appreciate other things. So there are people in communities where galamsey is going on. They know it's wrong, but they don't really appreciate the harm that the galamsey is causing, because to them it's their source of livelihood at the moment. So they will not appreciate it. So we need to do more education for people to understand the harm that is causing. What is quite interesting that people should know is that they are trying to get their livelihood, but in effect we are paying for it, because today in the budget there's 50.3, about 50,360,000 cedis that has been earmarked to fight galamsey. And those in the entertainment industry, if you go to National Film Authority, their budget is less than 200,000 cedis. And we are going to use 50 million just to fight galamsey. I don't know if that 50 million is going to cater for the 2,000 youth. But at the end of the day, what I think about is, why should somebody go and dig? And my taxpayers' money is being used to chase the person around, whilst institutions like Film Authority that could have put in better programs, brought together actors and so on to put productions that will sell Ghana are not well funded. So these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves as Ghanaians, that what is Galamsey doing to us? Are we getting any profits from it, or we are doing more harm to ourselves? And once we all come to that realization, which I think the advocacy has been strong enough, looking from the last election. What is quite worrying is the fact that people who were seen to be very vociferous in just the last year, today they've all gone to sleep. They've all gone to sleep. And it's becoming like people feel it's convenient when their government is not in power to talk about Galamsey. For some of us, we've always spoken about Galamsey.
That's what we are talking about, right?
And we need to be actively talking about this so that it doesn't go to sleep.
But that's what we are doing this morning.
That's what we are doing. You are doing, but not everybody. And we shouldn't leave it to just the media. We shouldn't leave it to just the media, because I quite remember the various groups who came to the extent that today you hear people talk about small-scale mining. Now there's the differentiation. But in the past, I didn't hear small-scale mining. Everybody was a Galamsey campaign in this country. Everybody. They were all lumped together to the extent that I remember some of the unions came out that the president should issue a stop to every form of mining, or the unions will not even go to work. And today, when you speak, the same unions will tell you that, oh, the small-scale mining, people are mining, and now we know that small-scale mining is better and Galamsey is different. That's
always been so, though.
It's always been so. It's always been so. But why do we change the narrative when it's convenient for us?
Which is which? How was the narrative changed? Nobody says small-scale mining.
Just a few months ago, people made us to believe that small-scale mining and Galamsey are virtually the same.
Okay.
That they were virtually the same. They were all using excavators now and chamfans and so on, and they were destroying our forests. And to the extent that even some of the small-scale miners were even doing it worse. And today we've all gone to sleep. Who is monitoring? I think, in effect, the only media houses that I hear them talk about it more is Joy, and sometimes City. And the only media guy that I see on the grounds doing a lot of work on this is Erastus. Who is part of Joy, exactly. But apart from that, who else? Nobody is talking about it again. Everybody is going to sleep.
All right. Honorable, I just want to find out from you. During last year, the president now said that he would have declared a state of emergency if he was in power. He's in power.
Yeah. A state of emergency will be declared certainly if they review everything that is happening there now, and also know that we have just been in power for this almost about we are going to a 10 month or so, about 60 days or so. But I think the issue is that, you see, when there's war, you mobilize both human resources and every resources that we get, including the media, to fight that war. And I think that has been the war trajectory that we have been. The Galamsey is like we are in a war. So all those who are perpetrating this crime, like I told you, and I think we are all aware, I'm surprised my brother was saying that Galamsey was, small-scale mining was lumped up with Galamsey. Small-scale mining, to some extent, contributed to Galamsey. I've said it here time and again. Some of these small-scale mining people are behind the Galamseyers. They are behind them. Look at the amount of gold that went to India. More than what we exported as a country. When you look at how did they get the gold? Did they pass through the right routes? Where these illegal miners that they bought from, the Indians bought from, and so on. So all these things go to tell the story. It's not an easy fight, and we will surmount it at the right time, because I know that if the security men are not politically interfered in their way, and they are allowed to map up the area that flies them out, and that is what we want. We've given them all the strength, all the backing, and so on, and we are going to ensure that they do it. At the end of the day, we will all, as a country, clap for ourselves because we have been part of this collective fight against the people of this country, even children yet unborn. Galamsey and small-scale mining. We saw people who were in government at the time, who who were licensed galamsey people and who ought to know better.
Are there anything like licensed galamsey people?
Hey, licensed small-scale mining people, but you should know that if I sleep...
No, I don't know what you're trying to say.
No, he was correcting you.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. If I sleep to say that, you know.
No, I didn't know that was what you're trying to say.
Licensed small-scale mining people, sometimes they are their most abusers. They would mine... Erastus here said they've done a lot of work on it, where licensed small-scale miners were mining close to rivers where they said that it must be 100 meters or so apart. And they were doing that. All sorts of investigations has been done. And that is what I told you from the beginning, that if your members of your political party that is in power, who are sometimes powerful, when they are in this galamsey and you don't stop them, it becomes difficult for you to stop. And that was one of the major issues that confronted...
Honorable, let me just ask you this quickly. Knowing that it's very easy to influence people because there's a lot of money in there. I mean, in the past, whenever we speak about galamsey, we speak about the influence of these galamseyers. Some of them are able to lure these persons into making money. Now, these are hungry people, hungry young men and ladies who are being tasked to guard the water bodies and fight galamsey. Yet, we still have this LI 2462 in Parliament, where it allows people to mine in forest and the water bodies. We were hoping that it will be repealed. It hasn't been touched. Now, when we take a look at what is happening, this particular issue, where we've seen military men who couldn't do it, these are people that have been really trained. Isn't this job for the boys?
I don't think it's job for the boys. How do you describe job for the boys when the country is at war? Every human being must be mobilized in terms of even material and so on. Definitely, people must also police the waters. You cannot say, it is when in the process of operationalization, then you see those who are weak, who cannot go with the discipline of policing water or the forest, that you withdraw them. And that becomes a deterrent. And when I talked about the fact that the community must also be policing them, it's a very effective
But they are part of the community, though.
No, you don't get it. Even the two of us, when we are part of an institution, you get a job, I don't get, you know the differences. I don't need to go in. Or even they prepare food for us, one mother, and I see that your food is always bigger than myself and my brother here. There's always an issue there. They are part, but you cannot also go and take different people to come and do the job. Would you go and take people from Sanoma to come and do job in community A, when the youth in that community too are looking for the job and they've given it the necessary policing to do? Let's monitor them. If you don't monitor them, that's what I'm saying. Look, in every community, it has been done elsewhere, that you have a tier. While you are monitoring me, I'm monitoring you. Even political parties do it in terms of our polling station agents. You know, sometimes the two of us will be a pool, and there will be another 3 or 5 people standing elsewhere monitoring we those at the polling station. There can be a third one monitoring also those people. So they'll be like first monitoring, second monitoring, and third monitoring. It can be done. Because if you don't involve the community must be part and parcel of this fight. Look, there are young men who will not be recruited, and they also want the job. If you misbehave, they can't tell you, look, Tim went and took money from your investigators. See that, yes, Rosalind gave me money in order for me to put a blind eye to it. I'll be removed, that fellow will be brought. It will be that way. It is when we put in these measures of policing, more than 3 tier and so on, the chiefs, they involve them, like he talked about the education. It's not just guns. It's not just police. It's also about intensive and everyday education. But let me tell you something. I tell my brother, it's not about the laws and the repeal. It's strict enforcement of the law. Even today, if we had gone or abide by the enforcement of the existing LI, about circumstances under which a forest can be entered into, probably we're not talking about repeal. We may not talk about the repeal at all. But you see, we create a law, we abuse it, then we go back.
Why won't we talk about the repeal? It's been a problem. I mean, for most Ghanaians, when we talk about repeal, it doesn't. For most Ghanaians, Honorable, I understand you, but for most Ghanaians, we have it's a forest reserve for a reason.
Yeah.
is a water body for a reason.
Yeah.
Why even pass that law? Why pass that bill in the first place?
Yes.
This is a water reserve that is supposed to make sure that we have water for a very long time. Water is life. This is a forest reserve that we know that back in the day, if you're driving past it, we know what, forest bodies are supposed to be. So why even pass this LI in the first place? It's a question. I don't know how it came to being.
Laws have a historical antecedent. Laws are passed taking into consideration a lot of factors. The law that the LI that you are talking about, as at the time, it was okay to have such an LI because the issue of Galamsey wasn't a menace.
It was.
It was. No.
It was an issue, Honorable. Honorable, when was this LI passed? This LI was passed barely 8 years ago.
That is what I'm saying, that even if it is passed yesterday, at any given time, an LI or a law is passed, taking into consideration circumstances and conditions prevailing at the time. At a particular time in the operationalization of that law, if you find out that the law needs to be repealed, you repeal it and add on onto the law new developments and so on. For instance, we're not having cyber attack. We're not having issues of internet and so on. So you couldn't have passed law. Today, we are even going beyond the cyber attack and then passing other law to protect that. So laws are passed based on circumstances and conditions at a particular time. I am not for one saying that it should not be repealed, like you have put it this morning. If we repeal it and it will work, fine. If we had even gone by the content of that LI, probably people is greed. What we are doing is greed.
All right.
It's absolute greed.
Okay.
In fact, where you are supposed to, you have not even finished mining.
Oh, no, I want to.
You are going to lose.
Let Michael come in. And when Michael is done, I'll read some messages. So keep your messages coming in. Right after Michael is done, I'm going to read some messages.
What I wanted to add to support what he was saying is that at the end of the day, we will have the laws. We can amend or repeal, but if we don't enforce it, it won't work. Because even with the LI that we have as it states now, if we were to go strictly by it, a lot of small-scale miners will not be mining. Because once you are given a mining license, it's not for you to go and mine directly. Most of these licenses that they gave them, they have to do exploration. And exploration is not the same as mining. Prospecting. They have to start with prospecting. Prospecting, let's say you've been given 10 acres. You go and you take like an acre, and that is where you prospect. And prospecting is not sending bulldozers to the ground. They have equipment that they use for prospecting. Even if you send an excavator or whatever, just a small place, then they dig and then check the quantity of the content of gold that the geologists are able to determine. Even now they have equipment that they're able to determine. And then they'll check whether there is rock under the soil or not, and whether there's gold in it. After you've done the prospecting, then you go back to the Minerals Commission, and they will determine how you are going to do your safety issues, the community, how you are going to liaise with the community, so you do community engagement for the community to accept that you are coming to mine there. You go through a long process.
Community engagement is very important.
But now people get a license for even prospecting. Most of these small-scale miners, for prospecting, and they move in with their machines that they are prospecting. They don't engage the community. They don't hold the community there. But if you hold the community there, and the community says no, even with the chief sitting there, and most of the youth groups say no, we will not allow it. They are not supposed to issue a license to you.
But they do.
They do. That's what I'm saying. If we are to enforce the current law in its current form,
that's what the problem is in Ghana here. The problem in Ghana here is that we pass these laws and we don't enforce it.
That's
and knowing where the issue is, why do we even go ahead and pass it? Because if we know that we are going to I mean
with that laws there will be chaos.
No, I understand, but some of these laws, how is there going to be
definitely
chaos?
there will be somebody who will come one day and become president, and that person will make sure it's enforced. And there will be somebody who will become an IGP or military commander who will make sure it's enforced.
I keep citing this story about Al Capone, the Sicilian mafia in the US. It got some time, they nearly gave up. But there was one FBI guy, like he's saying, an Army commander will come one day. And he used the same law. You know, we used to have laws, there was this law that has never been used. But at the time that they needed to use it, they used it, I will remember it. Okay. Look at Rosewood. rosewood became a big issue.
People were exporting rosewood.
Yeah.
And when I called one of the forest guards in Upper East to know why they would go and take rosewood from Sanoma, look at West Sanoma, and pass through all the, what do you call it, the barriers.
The barriers to the
barriers to Accra here. You know what, the guy told him that, look, my brother, even the whole north is a no-go area. You're not supposed to cut a tree because of the peculiar nature of the savannah region and so on. That, no, apart from rosewood, but rosewood became a big issue.
It became gold.
Government, what do you call it? People were involved. So it became a difficult issue, that issue. And you know what? The community that I was talking to prevent them, when you go away, they'll go and take money from the rosewood harvesters and allow them to do.
Anyway, this is the problem that we have in Ghana now. Let me read a few messages. Good morning, beautiful. In fact, I never regretted voting against the NPP, and I'll vote against them in 2028 again. So Afenyo Markins wants a hospital for himself because he's an MP. Why not advocating for funding to complete the 111 hospitals, but a special hospital for the MPs? NPP and the Markins will remain in opposition forever. Master Raman, Tuna, Sola, Tuna, Kalba. Good morning, Rosalind. Please, I want to know the exact mandate of the water guards. I'm asking because we seem to tickle ourselves too much in this country. Within which period and criteria was these so-called water guards selected? President Akufo-Addo provided logistics, including speedboats for the Navy to protect our water bodies, especially in the Galamsey regions. What was the end result? Funny though, the soldiers who couldn't succeed in the fight against Galamsey are the same soldiers who are to train the so-called guys called water guards. Soldier form po enhuso na Adidas water guards. Amino in Sawom. Okay. Good morning. The government proposed tiered approach to school fees within the free SHS policy raises serious concerns about equitable access to education. The criteria used to determine fee paying eligibility must be transparent, objective, and free from any bias. Any perceived inequity in implementation risk undermining the fundamental principle of universal access enshrined in the free SHS policy. Instead of potentially divisive and subjective fee assessments, I propose the establishment of a dedicated National Education Fund. This fund would serve as a platform for philanthropic individuals and organizations to contribute directly to the sustainability and enhancement of the free SHS policy, ensuring that all Ghanaian students, regardless of socioeconomic background, have an equal opportunity to thrive. This collaborative approach, driven by collective responsibility, will fortify the free SHS policy and secure a brighter future for Ghana's youth. Timothy Annabella from Bechem. How do we determine those who can pay? If someone's salary is known for that matter, he can pay for his worst education. How do we also know the debts he owes people? Let's see how many people would agree to pay. There's a plan to cancel the free SHS. You can't carry the load. You are complaining that the part isn't good. This is from Emmanuel M.E.K. Gonyui. Is it Peze? Okay. Hassan Sise from Zeno Central says, good morning to everyone. Galamsey is a deadly canker which doesn't know any party color, whether blue or green, and the contaminated water, if not tackled well, will clear all of us, including the newly recruited guards, if they allow themselves to be corrupted. I believe that His Excellency JDM and the Land and Natural Resource Minister will not fail Ghanaians, and they cannot afford to fail Ghanaians because he is in to leave a good legacy. Akonsi Gariba from Tamale says that I applaud President Mahama for training 400 water guards to protect the water bodies in Ghana. I also plead with President Mahama to train 1,000 guards to stop bush burning in Ghana to protect the natural resources. Many farms have been burnt year in, year out without anybody being arrested for that reckless act. A lot of Ghanaians want to get into farming, but for that reckless bush burning in Ghana, it has discouraged the majority of Ghanaians not to invest into farming for the fears of their investment going into the drain. Bush burning must be stopped in Ghana now. My regards to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. This bush burning thing, we need to look into it. We do, but I know that back in the day, I know that your farm can also spark fire on its own, depending on the sun? Can it?
No.
It can't. It still has to be set by somebody. So there are people who are there, and this is what they do.
Yeah.
This is their job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially those who farm in large acreage in the Fimbisi valleys. That is within my constituency and Upper East region.
So people do it deliberately?
Sometimes deliberately. It's not deliberate.
No, but we know the history.
People go into the bush to
cook,
to catch game.
Okay.
Yes. And then sometimes they'll use fire.
No,
and then sometimes people also go to the farm
and
they'll cook. And then
they leave the fire.
And then there are some, they burn, maybe they are burning to till the land.
Yeah.
And then they are not able to guard, create a buffer zone. Then it extends to other farms. So there are various reasons in various...
So we'll take a look into it then.
Not that. I'm talking about farmland. If you go to the Fimbisi or the overseas area, the farms are in huge acreages.
Yeah.
So you don't go there setting a farm because there's a time for harvest. And people normally police, and because the combined harvesters are not enough, people wait in their tents.
Okay.
So they can. And some unscrupulous people, sometimes you know what they do? I've heard about that. They'll catch a lizard.
I was coming to say...
with grass.
Yeah.
And then put fire when the lizard run into it. And when the rice is burned, it's dangerous because the seeds blast. It's like it is exploded. The sparkling and so on. So it is always very dangerous. It has been happening, but I think it has reduced drastically. One way
I thought, yeah, it was worse then.
It was so devastating.
So good morning. I wonder that the NPP people have now seen that using the taxpayers' money to fight galamsey is wrong. When Chairman Wontumi and prominent NPP members were destroying our water bodies and forests, and yet still Akufo-Addo is spending huge sums of money to protect them, what did they tell him? Please, they were all benefiting because party hears sika. For others, party doesn't need money. Obia hears sika. Jake from Asaman Kese. All right, so let me go into this one because I'm going to be doing the free SHS thing. Good morning. Someone is proposing a hospital for parliamentarians. Someone is proposing, okay, free SHS was safely implemented due to political greed to win power. It's not good for a country heavy debt. Okay, after school, where is the job? Ghana, oh Ghana, we are just doing things without a direction. Good morning. Someone is proposing a hospital for parliamentarians. What of poor rural farmers who want everything for yourselves? Please, our tax money, do it from your pockets. All right, so let me go into the topic of the free SHS before I go into the other one. So free SHS has been there for the past 8 years. It was the biggest campaign promise of the NPP, which they implemented. Of course, they did have a few hitches here and there. During elections, they did mention that they were going to make sure that they get it better. The NDC, during elections, did say that they will research it and get it better. Now, what we are hearing from the NDC is that they are still going to make it better. However, Otumfuo Seisu Otekoko Sonana has said that if people can pay, they should allow them to pay and not put the burden on the taxpayer. And for this, some people feel once it's done, then there's going to be that progressive free SHS. And so it's going to be, in a way, a cancellation of the free SHS that the NPP started. Honourable.
Yeah, I think the issue about free HSS is that we all agree in this country that it's good. Take it or leave it, it has been a respite to a lot of kids who could not progress after the JSS results due to financial challenges. Even we in the North who were benefiting from free education, there are some aspects we still paid. People don't know this. What we don't pay is the feeding. What we don't pay is the exam fees and so on. That one is taken by government, but we pay other fees and so on. So what happened in the North is that when we're in school, sometimes at the assembly, you know those old days of doing things, they'll come and mention your names. They'll come and mention your name. Tim, you haven't paid your school fees. Come out. Rosalie, you haven't paid. Honorable, you haven't paid. Then we, those who have not been paid, it's a matter of warning us and that they are going to prevent us from eating our food and so on.
Not writing exams.
Not writing exams and so on. So it became, even as though they were not paying fully, it became very difficult for some of us to pay. Unlike some of us whose mothers were in the public service and our parents were doing public, it was easier and so on. But other people, it was a real problem for them, even though we're not paying for the major. The major one has been the feeding, the cost of boarding, and including the examination fees. And so that has been the major thing. So for me, the current free HSS, what we talked about and what most people in the education sector, including CEOs, talked about was the implementation and the lack of dedicated government source of funding to it. You know, initially we were told that some, the annual budgets, what do you call them? Funding, they came to the oil revenue that will be used to do the funding. The fundings were not coming at the right time, food shortages, textbooks, and a whole lot of issues. The places were congested and so on. I keep citing my son when I sent him to St. Hubert. He's not there now, so I can mention the school. The headman, yes, you know these things.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. You see, we're living in a society where people who want to do the right thing are attacked. And I kept saying that this free HSS policy would have been properly defined and well refined. We wouldn't have been talking about it today if the managers of free HSS at the time were allowed freely to talk about it. But one of the major obstacles was that anytime they wanted to talk or complain about the challenges, they were gagged. We see headmasters who were suspended and so on. It came to a head on that they even said that parent-teacher association should not pay anything. Yet behind the scenes, we were paying. We were on WhatsApp, they would say that we have to send 100 Ghana for them to buy food for the students and so on. Feeding was a major problem and so on. So when we did in our manifesto, we said that we talked about the review, and I was happy that not just the NDC talked about it. There was the copious research that was done by Education Care, by Kofi Asari and so on, and other players of the area. Then the numbers were not even tallying. Today, the government has spent 10 billion on the free HSS. PAC has challenged this on the floor of Parliament a lot of times and so. Today, as we talk, the Education Minister has said that the 5.7 million students, they said the benefit wasn't so. It's just about 3 million students and so on. And I've seen the former education, the spokesperson, this young man, what is the name? The PR, yes, saying that now that the NDC has won, they should send the students to Kempiski or the other one, Kempiski, and then
give them fried rice.
You understand? So you see, we are not tackling the issue. We have played ball with it up to today. Ken Oforiatta himself was releasing the man and said that, look, he feels that there are some people who can pay. I've heard Professor Adai also saying that it should be reviewed, and people who can pay should be able to pay. But we are living in this part of the world, in this society, that people, whether they can pay or not, want to even enjoy free education. One, even you see people who can pay for their students to go to abroad or overseas and do courses, but they want to even benefit from get fund scholarship for their students. Yeah, we know that this fellow can even sponsor about 10 people to go outside and do courses and come.
So, Honorable, you're saying that you have to do what Otunfo is saying. Is that
No. I'm just giving okay. I'm coming there.
Please let me give you 1 minute. You've spoken for like 5 minutes
The
already.
major issue is the dedicated funding, which we have found a solution to.
Okay.
When we look at the fact that we have decapped Get Fund, it's going to add not less than 3 billion or so. Then we are using part of the tax, the tax refund, and it will add another 4 billion. So with this dedicated source of funding, I think the issue of funding has been resolved if they are going to go according to that. And I believe that the review that we did, the major issue was the dedicated source of funding. We found a solution to the dedicated source of funding. That is why even when you look at the budget, we also said that we're going to do the first year university paying and so on. We're going to do the sanitary part. These are all the education sector. We are going to do the textbooks for them. So for me, yes, Otunfo is saying this because he has lived through it. He has seen how the challenges of the free HSS has come about and so on. But he thinks that if people can pay, why not? If people can pay, they can pay. At the time we were doing we were in the North benefiting. Anytime a Northerner had admission in the South here, he was supposed to pay. But we'll go to the scholarship secretariat and exempt him from.
Okay.
Anytime a Southern student was also in the North, to attend boarding school. He was asked to pay, but you know, some of these things, the heritage do not even take them. You understand? They just allow them to pass and so on. So even with the old one, it was like that. If you could pay, you pay.
Yeah.
That was why when it came to the issue.
So that's the old one.
Yeah. When it came.
So we are going back to the old one.
No. That's his suggestion. But I'm saying that the major issue for the free SHS was a dedicated source of funding. Initially, we were budgeting and funding. That was it. But now that we have the get fund, there's enough money to take on and to pay.
Okay.
And one of the issues the Minister of Finance said that they are not going to accumulate arrears, even including the nurses and teachers' allowances. It will be paid. There won't be arrears accumulated and so on. So once the dedicated, because you cannot, there's nothing to be compared to human resource development of your youth anywhere in the world.
I'll come back to you and I'll give you more questions, but I just want to ask Michael. Michael, do you agree with Otto Kwasi Aidoo?
Well, with all due respect, not exactly, because I believe in the free SHS because we live in communities. We know how people struggle to send their wards through the secondary education. And what I've been thinking about, and even during the campaign I used to say the same, is that when people say need assessment, people who can pay should pay. How do you determine that Rosalind can pay, or Honorable Timothy can pay, or Honorable Aidoo can pay? We live in a country where when it comes to issues where we need to do selection, those are the top who always get first priority. For instance, scholarships. How many poor people's children are able to access scholarships and funding? It gets to who you know. When it even comes to postings to particular places like, let's say, nursing training, teacher training, and other institutions. Even police. It gets to who you know. Okay, so if you are not careful, we will implement a free SHS policy where we say those who can pay should go and pay. And we will end up marginalizing the poor, those who can pay, because they don't know anybody. Tomorrow, if you wake up and the president says, okay, we've changed free SHS in its form and that those who can pay should go and pay, a minister of state will pick a phone and call the Minister of Education, or an MP will call the Minister of Education and say, oh, my ward is in Wesley Girls, please include them. And that kind of situation. And you in, let's say, Bontefufu or Enche or somewhere, who are you going to call? That is the problem. So in its current form, everybody is going, everybody is attending. The most important thing is where we are getting the funding from. If it's a dedicated source of funding that we are all paying, every Ghanaian is contributing through the taxes, and at the end of the day, even those at the top may even be paying more taxes than those down there.
That's what it is.
Exactly. So we all share through the collective payment, and everybody benefits. But the moment we start to do selection and say, okay, let's cater for only those who cannot pay, when we enter secondary school, how are you going to determine whose parent can pay? If a parent comes and their income is very low, and they are well-dressed, the headmaster looks at them and says, oh, this man, the way he looks, he can pay. Meanwhile, he may not be able to pay.
Maybe, just maybe, they might ask for your pay slip.
How many people disclose their pay slip? How many people, even if we come to multimedia, how many people will be willing to show their pay slip to anybody?
They will still argue why that money is not enough.
Yes. People will be able to argue why it's not enough. So at the end of the day, I believe we should leave it in its current form. It's good that the government says they are dedicating funding from the capital of the GET fund.
Yeah.
What is going to happen is good. What is going to happen too is that the GET fund was put there to cater for infrastructure. So there's also going to be an effect on that side. Yeah. Because we know the student population keeps increasing, and we need more infrastructure. So there's going to be a reduction in the amount that will also go into infrastructure. Unless the government wants to tell us that over the last years, a lot of infrastructure has been put in place, and today we do not need so much infrastructure.
Do we have a lot of infrastructures put in place?
No, a lot was put in place, but whether it's adequate, is also another issue.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Unless they are trying to tell us that a lot was put in place, and because of that, if you let me land, and because of that, we may not need so much infrastructure now. So they are shifting their priorities to the payment of the fees. So they are moving get funds to the payment of the fees. There's also the tax refund that they are moving to support free SHS. It is nothing new. Tax refund has been always there. You have, I don't know if you've ever...
I've never received. Okay,
exactly.
Well, I haven't filed yet.
That is what.
But I hope that I will receive one day.
That is what a lot of financial guys are saying. That the moment people become aware that there is a money sitting there called tax refund, and that when you are taxed at the end of the year, you file and you are supposed to get something back, and everybody has to put in an application for their tax refund, what is going to happen is the amount in the tax refund is going to reduce, and government will not have that free money. Because over the last 10 years, records will show that every year we use about 46% of the tax refund to give out as tax refund. The remaining amount sits there, and government, when it's not used, government puts it in other projects and priorities. And that's the fund that the finance minister is going in to pick money to support these, the free SHS and the budget. So the moment people become aware and they start to file for more taxes, for more tax refunds, then there will be a shortfall. If you are not careful, and a civil society comes out tomorrow and starts to educate people that they have the right to go back for their tax refund, it means government will now find itself wanting. And in the same vein, if GRA is not able to realize the amount of revenue that they are expecting, and you know these budgets and things, they are estimates. If GRA doesn't realize the revenue that they are expecting, means there will be a shortfall in that tax refund, and government will find itself wanting. That is why I don't want to say, because we are taking money from Get Fund and tax refunds, so free SHS is going to be rosy, and that children will now be enjoying food like Mpiski and moving pick and so on. We don't want to conclude on that. We want to see its implementation. We want to see, when the NPP government started, you know, every policy, when you start, is very good. As it goes on, then you start to see the challenges. Yeah. And then when the challenges come, you address them and you make it better. We've gotten to the point that the system has run for more than 8 years and more than 7 years, and everybody kind of understands the challenges. It's good that the government is trying to address them, because if we had one power, we definitely had, we would have addressed these challenges. I've seen them. You were in power? I said, if we had one power.
You were in power?
We were in power. We addressed them. Because one of the key challenges that faced us when we introduced free SHS was accommodation. And we took the bold step to address accommodation challenges. At the end of last year, accommodation was not so much of a problem. Food was the problem. And we know there are various schools where headmasters and headmistresses were sanctioned because there were pilfering going on. People were pilfering the food. They were finding ways and means to move the food out of the school. Then they will send it to the parents that there's food shortage. I know a school, they appealed to me at a point that they needed support. Then teachers called me behind that, you know what, there's food there, but they are keeping it, they're holding, they've been moving the food out. I reported to the Ministry of Education through, is it Kwasi Aidoo? Yeah, I reported to him, he can attest. And he told me the same school had even been sanctioned before. Meanwhile, the parents had been made to mobilize food and were sending to the school. So if some of these challenges are not addressed, the government can push in all the money, they can push in all the food, the heads will find a way to make their money, and the system, the children will still go the way they are going now.
Well, yes, Honourable. I'll be reading a few Facebook messages soon, right after Honourable, I'm coming. Right after Honourable lands, I'm going to read a few Facebook messages, so you can go on Facebook and leave your comments there. I'll be there to read your messages in the next probably like 2 minutes.
You see, crime is a crime. Trifling is a crime, it's stealing. That's not the issue that people were talking about. In fact, if you are put in charge of children, they are feeding you steal, you have to be punished. We're talking about just the implementation had challenges. And some headmasters who genuinely face the challenges, that complain, and they were sanctioned is what we are talking about. The tax reform account that he's talking about, we are taking it from it because, look, the tax reform account was what was used to pay the SML, Kelly GVG, and so on. These were amounts that were sitting there. We are not saying that every government fund is fungible. You will spend it at the time is required, but it should be put into productive expenditure so that the people benefit from it. Even the tax refund he's talking about, the fact that yes, if people become aware, it's done other countries. I think the issue is the mismanagement of a lot of funds in this country. Look at state-owned enterprises and so on. Look at the amount of money they owe. If we get just 100th of that, we can do our free HSS. Look at ECG. You mismanage ECG funds, then you put it on us, on customers for your inefficiencies and so on. Look at Cocoa Board. Look at ECG and the water. It's over 100 billion. And how much is the free HSS? So even if we're paying 10 billion a year for our children, is that bad? We're investing in them so that they can take over from us. We know all this, and it's the mismanagement. Look at the Auditor General report, my brother.
Honorable, let me ask you a question. If roads are bad and the government awards road contracts, is that mismanagement?
No, that is not.
Then I'm coming to your point. For instance, you mentioned Cocoa Board.
Yeah.
Cocoa Board has a liability of about 32.5 billion. Out of the 32.5 billion, about 25 billion is Cocoa Roads, which the government moved roads from the ministry to Cocoa Board to fund. So that is not mismanagement.
You see,
and the rest of their liabilities runs all the way from 2017. 2017, there was a liability of about 8 billion. And that has run on their books till now, and they've been managing this, paying the interest and so on, and accumulated.
You see?
So we have to be careful how we demonize state institutions.
I'm not.
A lot of them are not
in terms of.
I get you, Michael.
Look at the rules that were awarded without commencement certificates and so on. You see, there are challenges.
But what I was driving at is that
I think that
with the free SHS, what I was trying to say is we are trying to get dedicated funding, but if the source of funding it could be problematic in due time, then we have to also look at those issues and question it. Because that's why I'm saying that the tax refund, people may come and collect more refunds, and it will affect the funding. And apart from that, if GRA does not get its revenue, is the amount of revenue GRA will get, that will be sent, the percentage will be sent to the tax refund. So if GRA doesn't realize its revenue, it means that there will be a shortfall in the tax refund, and you will not get the money you're expecting to go and support the free SHS. So you can talk about mismanagement in other institutions, but that tax refund that you have put your whole hopes on, you can have issues where you will not, you will not realize.
But then again, if we also manage other institutions better to save money in those institutions, we can channel these monies into the free SHS.
You know how these things are done.
Okay. Oh no, but let me read a few messages. I beg you. Musa Abattoir says President Mahama has demonstrated his strong commitment to fighting the Galamsey Menace by appointing a competent and incorruptible Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa as the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. Under his leadership, we are already seeing results in the battle against illegal mining. While it's true that President Akufo-Addo has failed, this shouldn't be seen as a reflection of President Mahama's abilities to succeed. The difference lies not in the approach, but in its sustainability and consistent execution. Timothy Annabella says, good morning. The government's proposed a tiered, I think I've already read this one, so let me go to the next one. Sami Bwachi Asamanke says that a nation overwhelmed by despondency and political duplicity is it not captivating and disturbing? Even those with firearms were unable to resist the Galamseyers. How can branch executives and a team designated as water guards be appointed to fight Galamseyers? These individuals with sharp teeth are defending the indefensible. The question remains, will this NDC be prepared to eradicate Galamsey from the system? Ghanaians must be informed. Regards to Potoswa, DC Note 1 says, good morning, everyone. The government must employ employ people and stop this hidden employment. Thank you. My name is Gabriel from Pandai Northern Region. All right, thank you, Gabriel, and thank you to all of you that sent your messages on Facebook. Go back on WhatsApp and read a few more comments. Roslyn, Ken Oferiatta decided to sue the whole of Ghana. Nobody cares. All we care is he should come and answer to the people of Ghana for his stewardship. Ghanaians are waiting on him, so he should stop all the antics. Oferiatta and NPP should not think they are more Ghanaian than the rest of us. What inside Asatore. Roslyn, good morning. Points of correction. Otunfo is not Otekoko Sunana, rather the Otekoko. So, all right, the Otekoko Sunana are the subjects of the kingdom. All right, thank you very much for this. I like that. Thank you. Wafa Clay senses. Wafa Nyamishao. I like it. Thank you. I like to be corrected when I'm wrong. So he's Otekoko. So Otunfo is Otekoko. So we are the Otekoko Sunana. That's what he's saying. So he's saying that Otunfo is Otekokoso, and we are the Nana. The person actually greeted you, though. He says that... He knows it. Yeah, so he's saying that the Otekokoso Nana are the subjects of the kingdom. Yes. And so Otunfo is Otekokoso.
Yes, that's
what it is. And I said he's the Otekokoso Nana. Yes.
And so we are his
grandchildren. Yeah. So that's what it is. So thank you very much for the correction.
Good morning to Ofakle. I know him.
Oh, you know him, eh? That's nice. Alhaji Hamza Pekma says, good morning, Roslyn. We should try to be truthful to ourselves and speak the truth for once in this month. In my humble opinion, this so-called river guards is totally a waste of our resources, and it will not yield any results. Are we saying today our military and the police cannot stand up to these criminals, galamseyers, then what should be paid monthly salaries? Remember, these galamseyers operate with weapons, and even our security agencies could not stand up to them. How much more river guards who are not equipped with any weapon? Look, let's get serious in this country. At least we know where our river bodies and forest reserves are. So why do we move the security agencies there to push off the fire once and for all? They cannot afford to fail the good people of this country. In any case, why not declare the state of emergency in those areas and put this off once and for all? I'm tired with all this concert. All right. Good morning, Joy Prime. Please, the matter of some parents paying fees and others not paying is not a good policy. If school is free, then it must be applied to everyone, but not political gains and serving few party members with the acts of classifying some parents. They just want to use these strategies to serve their party members. We are all Ghanaians, no discrimination that some can afford and others can't afford. After all, what are their qualifications for needy but brilliant? Hassan Cisse from Zeno Central says, I've read this one, right? Okay, sorry about this. Free SHS suggestions whether to pay or not to pay is the Asante Hene's suggestions, and he should be ready to pay for 1/3 of Asante students since he have enough. Don't say that. Don't say he just suggested, so don't say that.
He didn't get it.
I'll say Bonsu, Duaya Kanta says, good morning, Roslyn. Kind regards to your panel. Please, the issue of education in Ghana is becoming political football, and our leaders should be careful on what's going on in the sector. The resetting agenda, I believe, should include depoliticizing the sector and allowing people with the skills to run the sector. We don't want what happened with one-time premium promise that never materialized. We are watching. Did I hear from the former MP saying that it's Ghana fight, we vote for them to solve our problem, not to lament about them? NPP failed to fight Galamsey, and NDC should not fail us. President John Mahama can't fail us. The president have all the security system to fight Galamsey. The reason why they don't want to fight it because the politicians are benefiting from the Galamsey. Good morning, Roslyn. Solomon from Bolga. Okay, Solomon, thank you so much. Let me see. I'll do. Okay, Honorable Akesme from Sitri Bekwai. Good morning, Rosalind. I wholeheartedly support the Blue Water Guard initiative. Training 400 guards to protect our water bodies from the devastating effects of Galamsey is a crucial step towards preserving our environment. These guards will play a vital role in safeguarding our water sources, preventing pollution and ensuring the health and well-being of our communities. I commend the organizers for this initiative and urge our leaders to provide the necessary resources and support to make this program a success. Together, we can protect our environment and ensure a brighter future for generations to come. All right. I'll do. Good morning, Rosalind. The current government is doing everything possible to fight Galamsey. Let's support this initiative of Water Guard to protect our environment. God bless JDM. My regards to my sister, Zanato Rollins. Okay, this is Rollins from a OPK Patriotic Voices Go also says, regards to Dr. Digitalization Baumia and Honorable George Boache from Ahafo Regional Minister, the free SHS, which was introduced by Nanado and Dr. Digitalization Baumia and NPP, has come to stay, and they managed it for 8 years with many infrastructure for schools, which was unprecedented and feeding. Moreover, Mahama and NDC promised to continue it after 8 years. There is no need to complain on accommodation and feeding. If Nanado, Baumia, and NPP government provided everything in 8 years, are you sure they provided everything in 8 years? Even Honorable Michael Aidoo said yes, there were a few challenges. He says, regards to Stephen in team. All right, thank you very much. The greetings, we like it. All right, so that'll be all with my message. Okay, Musa Abatoa Sawasi. President Mahama has demonstrated a strong commitment to fighting Galamsey. I think I've read this one on Facebook. This one says, changing IGP Dampare is President Mahama's greatest mistake. Unfortunately, we are not talking about this one for today.
You're not forgiving for this decision.
All right, so this will be our messages. Hey, somebody says he's giving assignment, so okay, don't worry, we'll come back and come and do Overclear.
54 public senior high schools in Ghana. 762 of them.
Overclear says that, Rosalie, I'm giving you this assignment. Let your research team challenge this. Under the previous Nanado Baumia, out of 824 public senior high schools in Ghana, 763 of them got a minimum of 3 physical infrastructure projects, dormitories, classrooms, assembly halls, etc. Even that was not enough. And now part of Get Fund is redirected from infrastructure. What for Claire? All right. Thank you all, those of you who sent in your messages.
But what he has said is a justification that we have to even read the letter, because if with the capping you can do this, then the decapping would also take other aspect of it, you understand? So what he has said is even justifying the fact that the decapping and then putting some in the free-case is the right thing to do. So for me, I think that it's not just the infrastructure, but infrastructure that is contains, we have furniture problem too and so on. And all these things come back to the same point that let's build our youth. Human resource development is very, very important for this country as moving forward, especially in this global world that you must have a youth that can be competitive wherever that they find themselves in the global space. So for me, whatever that we do to ensure that our children get the best of education is done. Talking about the someone paying and so on, you know, when we're in school, I had to take Senate loans, is that not it?
Yeah.
The student loan.
You know, some people come with steady leave with pay, and yet they still take the student loan.
Did you take some? I never did, though.
I took.
I did. A friend of mine warned me that all my siblings took it, but when I got to school, my friend said to me, Rosalie, you can survive without it, so try to survive without it. So I tried.
My daughter never took. She told me that.
Anyway.
I told them that they would be deducting from their salaries. so none of them took. But at our time, people were really taking salaries and taking the loan in addition. You understand? Yet others also came without no salary at all.
Okay.
And they managed this loan.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next topic. It's to do with Parliament. And, of course, with this particular conversation, we'll have to do it in a nutshell, like, you know, round it up quickly. The minority leader, Honorable Afenyo Markin, has actually asked the Speaker of Parliament to help them so they can create a hospital for parliamentarians. It's come with a lot of backlash. Now, as he said this, the majority leader opposed it. Now, this is what the minority leader said. He said, There are two things that I look forward to seeing happen in the 9th government. One, a hospital for Parliament. If it does happen in accordance with your vision, it will be a great aspect. We are in the political class. Our health issues are to be known within certain confines because of confidentiality. At all people travel abroad at great costs for medical support. So because of confidentiality, he's calling for this. And he's saying that that's the reason why a lot of his colleagues travel abroad. So we should build with them a hospital. It's been met with a lot of reactions. He's your minority, he's your leader.
Yeah.
Are you support?
Those are his views. Okay. And rightly so, he has the right to his views. But then I believe he may not be saying we should build a new hospital. Institutions can adopt particular hospitals and say, this is our hospital. This is where all our staff attend for medical care. So, for instance, the Senate Hospital, Parliament can say, institute a policy where all members of Parliament attend the Senate Hospital for health care. Currently, what we have is a clinic. Okay. Inside Parliament, when you get to the ground floor, it's a very small clinic.
The emergency clinic.
And clinic is just for emergency purposes, and they can't even handle emergency. I think when you come to Parliament and you have small issues, then you pass there and they will check the normal things, the OPD kind of facility. Then after, they may refer you to other hospitals. And I would say he went further to even talk about the chamber. And these are privileges that I believe that currently it has to be looked at. We have to look at it as a nation. A lot of parliamentarians, that if you know the stress that comes with the work, that sometimes you sit in the morning to evening, like 7 p.m. and so on, and you might not even get, it's quite interesting. It's even difficult to get food around the place. So you might not even get food. People, if they are not able to drive outside or send someone to get them food, they might not even eat the whole day. And you realize...
Let's get a restaurant in there.
Yeah, these are all things, but then can the facility accommodate all these things?
Well, now churches have cafeteria.
Yeah, so these are all considerations that I think with time we have to look at. So it's not just about the hospital, but about the environment, trying to create situations where members of Parliament will have some convenience and also, like you said, some level of privacy. You don't have the privacy? Well, now, those days I could walk and enter anywhere, but now it's not the same. Now I even get to a place. I even get to a place and I think I'm disguising myself, and somebody can, oh no, I know you. I saw you on Joy Prime. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even hide anymore. So if you go to a hospital and you are not well, you enter and then the next thing you know, your consent gets a message and say, I saw Honorable in a hospital. Then you are getting like 50 calls. Honorable, are you okay? We heard you are in the hospital and this and that. And maybe that moment, you just want to reflect. You are not well, you just want to reflect and go home quietly. The phone calls alone will not even allow you because everybody is concerned about you because they heard you are not well. But I thought a lot of you have family doctors. You have a family doctor, but which hospital? Any hospital you enter, somebody will see you. Because a dedicated hospital where we know that, okay, if a SNIT specialist at OSU that we've dedicated, you go there, they know that, okay, this session for members of Parliament. But they do have it at 37. 37 is after you've been referred from the clinic. You can actually go to 37 straight away. Yeah, but it's not the same. We are in this country. The former president at Amels, they took him to 37. Within seconds, news was flying all over that this thing had happened. There's no confidentiality. So some of these things we really need to look at. I'm not saying we should put up a new hospital. At the end of the day, I even believe we can even put money into the Agenda 111, and I've seen funding the La General Hospital ongoing. I've seen that this government has also allocated, the last budget they allocated about 200 million, and this year there's about 70 million or so. It means that there's been progress of work, so they've allocated some 70 billion to complete what has been done. These hospitals coming up, at the end of the day, it gets to a point where we will be there. We will be close to where we want to reach as a nation. Maybe one of these hospitals, we should set up a special department in there to cater for these things, but not necessarily to go new ones.
Okay, so I like that, but I know, like I said, 37 does it. You know, 37 has a special place for
that's what I'm saying. So if it forms the same,
yeah. So maybe what we need is we need more.
37. There's even a phase 2 of 37.
Maybe what we need is, you know, almost all the general hospitals should have a special place for, you know, such people. Possibly. Because in 37 is there.
What we're doing in this country is that.
Yeah. I know for a fact. I know for a fact. It's not. You don't think so?
I don't want to argue with you because you have experienced it.
Yes.
But let me land. What we're doing in this country is that for political expediency, sometimes we the political class, we're always in a rush to rubbish these things because it puts us on the path where people assume and see us to be the ones propagating their needs and showing care, okay? But if we are not careful, we'll get to the point where we will have a political class with a lot of issues on their heads, medical issues, and people may not even be able to come out. How many MPs? The honorable leader mentioned that some MPs travel outside the country because they don't want their privacy to be seen or something. How many MPs can even travel outside the country? You in Parliament. How many of them on their own can seek medical care?
Okay, let me go to Honorable.
You see, first of all, sometimes I like the way Honorable Aidoo subtly said that was his leaders or our leaders' own view. Fine, but you see, Parliament does not generate revenue.
Yeah.
Parliament expenditure is charged on the consolidated fund. Just like all other departments, expenditure is charged, including emoluments. We know the state of the country's finances and so on. So sometimes when these things come, it's just to probably Afanya Markin with his antics would want to divert some conversation. He knows what he's about. And even the issue of a chamber, a new chamber too, was discussed.
Yeah.
You know, this issue was brought up during the NPP time, and they said drop that chamber. You remember the campaign against it was dropped and so, because when things are hard in the country, you don't propose things that they are not of immediate need to the people. You must take the people into consideration, because our parliament is a representation of the people of this country. Basically, we are doing participatory parliamentary democracy and so on. There are hospitals. When I came to Parliament, we were asked to go to Kolebu to do our medical, what do you call it?
The checks?
The checks. So they'll create a private file for you, so that it is you and your doctor at Kolebu who knows what is in that file and so on. We were able to go through and so on. And today we even have hospitals like the Bank Hospital, the Maritime Hospital, the
UGMC.
The UGMC and other better facilities.
Honorable, your time, what was your number?
We were 275.
275. Oh, you were part of the 275.
I was part of the 275.
Oh, okay.
And so on. So it was a basic requirement. And I think that in a country where our hospitals are in dilapidated stages, because to put such a hospital is not ordinary. The cost will go up. The cost can build more than 5,000 cheap compounds. For the people we go in for their votes. But if we can get a donor funding that can do that for Parliament, because there are a lot of associations we go to, because they also visit here. They could visit here one day and some of them would have been collapsing, and that hospital can save them and so on. We can source that funding, and I think Parliament has the capacity to do that with their interactions and so with the Commonwealth and so on. So to do a separate one, look at your people first. Are we in the capacity to do that? Because, look, I was in Parliament and I did surgery, minor surgery, not a big one. And why I did it, I won't tell you.
We don't want to know. We don't want to know.
You know, I got up one day and I had serious pain. I couldn't feel it. We had a parliamentary doctor. These people did Dr. Ite. He's a calm guy. And the guy, when I went to, that morning, he just saw that I was in pain. So he told me to meet him at the civil service. They have a hospital or a clinic at the ministries. So I went there and met him. When he just looked at me, he said, no, Tim, I'll call one of my friends who is a good surgeon, and he's at the clinic that they pulled down. so that the two of them will meet and see what they do. And when I was restless. When I got there, he came immediately, they examined me, and they didn't immediately do it, but around 2-3 days, they did a surgery. I did it at the lab, clinic that I could pull down. And when I was there, later on, they got to realize, he knew that I was an MP, so the doctor made the nurses later on got to realize that I was an MP, and they tried to put the place tidy a bit. We can understand this. Then I was also on, and I was also on the health committee. What I'm saying is that sometimes the hospital that we neglect today is our savior tomorrow. You understand? So while we are advocating for a better health facilities for our members of parliament, because of the work they do, they crisscross this country. Some of them don't even see the phone calls alone. I've gone to, even a former MP is even getting worse, how much more is sitting MP and so on. When you look at all these challenges, but is it the right time to demand that? I think that is no. And then we should focus on resetting our financial systems and our economy. When things are better, the people of this country can say, look, our people are working so hard. Let's see how we can support them. But the clinic that is there, I've attended there. I may even be attending there for 1 or 2 issues. But when you go there, it's quite a good place. It looks nicer than other places. And the 37, you see what is happening in 37? They have a VIP session. And that one you pay as a private patient. And it's not for just people. If you can pay and then you happen to unfortunately be there, you'll be there. And I think most hospitals have created that aspect, a block such a way that you can have your privacy while the doctor comes to see you.
But the minister also has, the MPs also have access to that place.
They have.
Yes.
That is what I'm saying. That depends on your packet. It's also open to the public too. And I think generally at the UGMC there should be something like that, this modern hospitals and so on. So for me, I think that for now, we better.
So Rosalie, I think the timing for the hospital is not right.
It's not enough,
No, I mean
the timing is not right.
Maybe in the near future we may consider. But now, even with the chamber, I sit at the back. Sometimes when you stand to catch the eye of the speaker, you do not have any space. No space. So you stand like this and you are struggling. So the whole time you are standing to speak,
the camera doesn't pick you.
Yes, the whole time you are standing to speak, you see that your legs, you are really suffering because there's no space. And when people are moving, behind you,
you couldn't get space in the flight.
When people are moving behind you, you need to squeeze yourself like this. And sometimes they push you before they can move behind you. Sometimes you have to get up and leave your seat for somebody to pass. It's really tight in the chamber. Because that chamber was not built for 275 MPs. From GH Mensa time, those in my old days,
they were not even exactly
walk. But now it's very difficult.
The problem we have in Ghana is our maintenance culture. And, we hardly do renovations, we hardly maintain the places.
No, but I think for Parliament, they maintain the inside. They maintain the inside.
It looks nice. But once you realize that your numbers were increasing, something should have been done about it. You don't have to build a new edifice.
The building is an old building.
They adjusted the parliament, that's why it will contain.
The building is an old building. And if you want to expand it, you need to break to expand it.
They've even done a lot of
redesigning
in the chamber.
We are hoping that things get better in Parliament.
And
because you speak on our behalf, and you struggle for us. So
I've seen an MP calling that her constituency is so huge. She wants us to divide her constituency into 4. One of the NDC MPs. Some MPs are even calling that, like my constituency.
It's huge.
Yes, we have a voter population of 110,000.
Ooh,
and
that's big.
The constituency population is about 350,000.
Ooh. How are you able to take care of all of them?
Exactly.
Wow, okay. It makes a lot of sense. Anyway, but we are hoping that, the parliamentarians are comfortable because they speak on our behalf. And just like they said, the time might not be right for the hospital. But we wish them to also have a good life because they speak on our behalf. This is all time of Perpetus, gentlemen, and I'm very grateful that you made time for us this morning. My guests have been Honorable Timothy Awonche Mataboade, who represented the NDC, and Honorable Michael Aidoo, represented the NPP. Very grateful that you made time.